Let's call the case of the People of the State of Michigan versus Zachary Radcliffe. The record should reflect we had an in-chambers conference in this matter, and there were certain issues I think that the parties wanted to raise. So we'll start with the people. Mr. Isaac.
Thank you, Honor. I emailed council and your staff last week indicating that I would be making a motion under statute to close the courtroom for 4 of the victims, and I will only state their first names: Weston, Isaiah, Noah, and Maxwell. Isaiah is 17 years old, Noah is 18, Maxwell is 18, and Weston is 18. Isaiah, Noah, and Maxwell are still in high school, and we're making a motion to close the courtroom. The statute that governs that is MCL 600.21623A. If upon the motion of a party made before the preliminary examination, the court finds on the record that the special arrangements specified in subsection 17 are necessary to protect the welfare of the witness, the court must order those special arrangements. In determining whether it is necessary to protect the welfare of the witness, the court must consider all of the following: the age of the witness, and I would indicate that these are still very young witnesses, the nature of the offense, the desire of the witness or the witness's family or guardian to have the testimony taken in a room closed to the public, and all of the parents and the grandparent guardian of Weston are asking that the courtroom be closed for their son's testimony. And the physical.
I'm sorry. All of the parents
of the victims that I listed: Maxwell, gotcha, Noah, Isaiah, and Weston. All of their parents are requesting that the courtroom be closed, and the physical condition of the witness. These 3 of them are still in high school, so there has been a lot of media attention. All of these individuals went to church together. I know that the court previously pulled some letters of support out of the public court file for safety reasons. I've indicated to the court and council there are 2 victims who are not appearing today because of safety reasons. So I will not be able to proceed with the assaults against them. And I think for the privacy of these minors, that the courtroom should be closed for them. And subsection 17 indicates if the court determines on the record that it is necessary to protect the welfare of the witness and grants a motion made under subsection 16, the court must order both of the following: that all persons not necessary to the proceeding must be excluded during the witness's testimony from the courtroom where the preliminary examination is held. Upon request by any person and the payment of the appropriate fees, they can obtain a transcript of that witness's testimony at a later date. The courtroom be arranged so that the defendant is seated as far from the witness stand as is reasonable and not directly in front of the witness stand in order to protect the witness from directly viewing the defendant. The defendant's position must be located so as to allow the defendant to hear and see the witness and be able to communicate with his or her attorney. So we're asking for those 4 witnesses, Weston, Isaiah, Noah, and Maxwell, that the courtroom be closed, and particularly for Maxwell, Noah, and Isaiah, who are all students still in high school. And I did send some case law to the court and to council last week, People versus Dontavius Anthony Bell, 219 Westlaw 473-2615, where the courtroom was closed for a 15-year-old criminal sexual conduct victim in that case.
Right. Just so that I'm also clear, the statute also would require that if I do close the courtroom, the testimony is not closed, but the court also has to provide some type of system or some viewing for the press and for others who are excluded from the courtroom to view the proceedings still.
So the other, the case law does talk about the right to an open trial is absolute, and that's People versus Klein. This party seeking to close the hearing must advance an overriding interest that is likely to be prejudiced. and the closure must be no broader than is necessary to protect that interest. The trial court must consider reasonable alternatives to closing the proceeding, and it must make findings adequate to support that closure. So the court, the case law does contemplate a partial closure where the courtroom is closed and there would be a live feed to a different location. So it's technically still open, but the courtroom is closed for that witness's protection. We're asking for a complete closure for the 3 high school students.
Judge Simpson granted the prosecution's motion to close the courtroom during the minor victim's testimony. One witness had backed out of testifying because they feared for their safety. The adult victims are testifying next in open court. Warning: viewer discretion advised.
Court does recall the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Red. So counsel, state your appearances for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Amy Rines on behalf of the people.
James Thomas for the defendant.
Ida Najati on behalf of Mr. Radcliffe, Your Honor.
All right. And we will continue on with the prelim. Are you ready to call your next witness?
Your Honor, prior to calling the next witness, we just want to bring to the court's attention that it was brought to our attention that after the witnesses from this earlier today testified, they joined the room with the live stream. So we had asked for the witnesses to be sequestered. We didn't say we weren't going to potentially recall any of those witnesses, and if any new information came out and it was brought to our attention, they joined into courtroom B.
And that's correct. The witnesses were excused.
They were.
So I told them that they were finished testifying and they could watch the testimony.
And so what is defense's objection?
Our understanding was that the court had asked them to all the alleged victims, the witnesses, to be separated from each other, to be.
I did not order that. There were, in fact, I specifically did not. I told you in chambers that was an impossibility, and on the record said that, and specifically indicated that I would be issuing my standard sequestration order, indicating that they should not, those that have testified should not be talking to anybody that has not yet testified.
That is correct.
So if I had ordered that they all be separate, there would have been no reason for me to say that second part.
That is correct. But my understanding is that they were in the room with other family members of other alleged victims that were going to testify later today. And that's one of our concerns, is that they're sharing a space. These people already, as came out today, have a lot of connection with each other.
So are you saying that somehow or another their testimony is going to be tainted? Because if you're making that call, you better be ready to back it up, or you better back down from it. One of the two right now, because otherwise I will hold an evidentiary hearing regarding each witness coming up here, and you better be able to substantiate it. So before something else comes out of your mouth, let me know which way you want it.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was making the court aware of the fact that information was brought to our attention. We were under the impression that the court's order was that these witnesses would not communicate with each other in the sense of the testimony. All we're making clear on the record is that these witnesses joined a room full of other family, other members, families, and that's all we're making clear.
And they were excused. So had we not had that room, had they just been out in the hallway, they would have been out there amongst them anyway. After they're excused, I cannot and do not control them except for the confines of my order, the sequestration order, which tells them not to talk to anybody that has not yet testified.
And all we want to make the court is aware that they were in a room with other family members of those who have not yet testified.
And that means absolutely nothing to the court without more counsel. So I'm done with it.
Thank you.
Well, Your Honor, I would like to speak to the record because counsel is representing that something improper was going on. When from the beginning, I advised the court and counsel that there are approximately 30 people, 8 of them victims to testify. They're all being held in the jury room. I, as an officer of the court, told them not to discuss their testimony with one another. So
okay, go ahead.
They were all in the room together to be kept away from the defendant's family in the hallway, intimidating them. So yes, they are in a room together. The victims are in a room together with family members. They're in a very large jury room together, and they have been since this morning. They have all been instructed not to discuss their testimony.
All right, so we can just put an end to this. Ms. Reiser, as an officer of the court, I'm going to take a brief recess. Can you go down there? I think a couple of the witnesses have walked back in. Can you ask them as to whether or not they had any conversations with anybody who is expected to testify that has not yet testified? And counsel, if you brought that to my attention and you've wasted this court's time, you better hope they say something. Court's in recess.
All rise. The 14A District Court for County of Washington, State of Michigan is now back in session. The Honorable Judge is the
Maybe see. We're back on the record in the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Radcliffe. Counsel and defendant are present. Ms. Reiser.
Thank you, Honor. I did speak with two of the three witnesses who have testified, the victims. Isaiah and Max are still in the courthouse, but as you are aware, they have been excused. Noah is excused and has left the courthouse. Isaiah and Max assured me that they have not spoken to anyone about their testimony. They've got support from the parents that were in there, but they have not spoken about their testimony, and they are excused. So I did tell them they are free to come back into the courtroom to watch the remaining.
Absolutely are. And just so that the record is also clear, because I went back and was reminded of what was said so that we don't have an obfuscation of what has occurred today and what this court has done. There are three separate rooms that parts of this proceeding are going on to based upon the court's initial order closing the courtroom, and then a partial closure, and then a place to put the witnesses and their support personnel. Those are three separate distinct areas. So that the record is clear, this is courtroom C. Proceedings have been conducted in my courtroom all day for all of the witnesses in the preliminary examination. In courtroom B, for the first witness, courtroom B was not open, could not be accessed by anyone. And the proceedings that were going on in here were sent nowhere. For the second and third witnesses, which was the partial closure, which the court had ruled on this morning, those individuals, that courtroom opened for the testimony of those witnesses. So while the courtroom itself was closed, except to two support people or a support person for the witness and for the defendant, being fair to the defendant, where he had the two people in the courtroom B, so that the press and others could see what was going on consistent with case law. That courtroom was open. These proceedings were broadcast into that courtroom. The jury assembly room, which there has been no broadcast to all day and has been absolutely segregated from any part of these proceedings, is where the witnesses and the support personnel, both from, I believe, victims advocates from the county prosecutor as well as MSP, have been sitting all day. So to the extent defense counsel has made any representation otherwise, it is not true. And in fact, the very fact that they went into courtroom B after their testimony, they could not have commingled with any of the witnesses yet to testify because they're all down all the way at the other end of the building in the jury assembly room. So next time you want to make an accusation, next time you want to make the court follow it, back it up. Otherwise, just be quiet. Call your next witness.
So people would call Christopher.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
Will you hand me my screen box? Now go. Freak.
State and spell your first name only for the record.
Christopher, CHRISTOPHER.
You're inquiring.
Thank you. Christopher, my name is Amy Reiser, and we spoke on the phone earlier last week and met in person this morning. I'm the assistant prosecutor handling this case, and I'll be asking you a few questions about your relationship and interactions with Zach Radcliffe today, okay? And if there's anything that you don't understand, maybe if my voice trails off or I ask a confusing question, just ask me to repeat the question and I can repeat it for you, okay? Can you tell us what your date of birth is? And so how old are you today?
23.
And I want to talk about, do you live in Michigan right now?
No,
What state do you live in?
Alabama.
And how long have you lived there?
5 years.
Okay. I want to talk about your time at the Oakwood Baptist Church in Saline, Michigan, Washtenaw County. Do you recall that? And how long were you a member there? Approximately.
10 to 15 years.
Okay. What's your earliest memory of going to the church?
Probably being in the Awanas program.
Okay. And what is that?
It's kind of like a program that helps you learn about what happened in the Bible, and so you read verses and stuff from the Bible to get like your badges and stuff like that. You engage in everything.
Okay. And who did you go to church with? Okay. And did you have any siblings?
Yes, ma'am. I have 5 sisters.
Are they all older, younger, or?
They're all young.
Okay. And dad, did you have a dad when you were growing up?
Not much.
Okay.
He was in the military, so he was out of state.
Okay. So you'd go with your mom and your siblings? Okay. And do you know the defendant in this case, Zachary Radcliffe? And could you tell Judge Simpson where he's seated and a color of clothing that he's wearing?
Next to the defense on the left side, wearing the jumpsuit.
Okay, the record could reflect he's identified the defendant.
That objection record shall so reflect.
And when you were in the church, what was the defendant's role at the church?
He was a worship leader.
And did you develop a relationship with him?
I did.
And tell me what you remember, how that began.
I had a lot of issues growing up with my mom. We fight a lot and argue, and he was kind of started being there for me and would talk to me when stuff was going on between us.
Okay. Like a big brother?
Yes, ma'am, like a big brother.
And did you share with him problems you were having with your mom? Yes, okay. And did you ever do anything with him outside of the church?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you do?
Go out to eat, go to the mall, watch movies.
And would he pay for you to go to the movies or go out to eat?
Yes.
And what about when you went to the mall?
He paid for everything.
What would he buy you anything? What would he buy you?
Shoes, clothes, whatever really I would look at.
Did you trust him?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you go to his home? And where was his home?
Off of Bemis Road in Sling.
And when would you go there?
Every weekend, sometimes during the week,
Okay.
frequently.
And at some point, did something change in your relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What happened?
So we were just doing what we normally did. We'd go to the mall, go out to eat, and there was one day when he asked if I wanted to make a bet with him, and he would tell me if the bet was that if I finished my food when we went out to eat, he would tie me something, and if I didn't, that I would have to suck his penis.
And what did you think when he first said that?
I thought it was a joke, like just guys joking around, making jokes like that.
Do you remember how old you were or what grade you were in when that conversation started happening?
12, 13.
Okay. And he said that at the mall. Then what happened?
Every day went on like normal. We went out to eat, and he bought me a pair of shoes or clothes I can't exactly recall. And then he got me out back at home.
Okay. And then what happened the next time you saw him?
We were at his house and we were taking a nap just like we normally would. And he told me that it was time for me to uphold my end of the bed.
And how did you respond?
I was kind of shocked. And I still thought he was kind of joking.
And what happened next?
And he pulled his penis out and proceeded to tell me that I needed to uphold my end of the bed.
And where was he at?
In his bedroom.
Okay. Was the door open or closed? Okay. And did you say anything?
Not really. I just was shocked still.
Okay. And then what happened?
I proceeded to So
Okay. And did he say anything while you were sucking his?
he would just make noises, tell me that it felt good.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then when he got close, I pulled his penis out of my mouth and kept going until he ejaculated.
And you kept going with,
My hand.
okay, on his. Okay. And what did he say when you were done? Remember if he said anything? And how were you feeling like that after the first time it happened?
After the first time, I was still kind of in shock. I didn't really know what to think of it.
Okay. And did you stay there that night or did you go home? And did it happen again? What do you remember about the next time?
It was kind of just the same scenario. Another bed had been made. I didn't finish eating my food. So I had to also the bed again.
Okay. And how long did this go on for?
Year or two.
And how many times, when you say you sucked, did you put your mouth on his penis? How many times did that happen?
Sometimes more than 15.
Did you ever tell anyone about it? Why not?
It just felt normal, like it was something that we did. He was my big brother, so like it was just something that was normal to us.
Okay. He made it feel normal? Did he ever perform any sexual acts on you? And tell me about that.
It was kind of the same scenario, another bed, but I won it, and
You finished your food or whatever the bet was? Okay.
had to uphold it into the bed.
So he lost the bet. Okay. And so what did he tell you to do?
Take my pants off, and
Did you do that? Okay. And what did he do?
then he started sucking on me.
Do you remember how old you were when it stopped?
15, 16.
And you would have turned 13 in December of 2014, is that correct? Okay. And that was when you were in 8th grade? Okay. Did it occur before your 13th birthday? Do you remember how many times it occurred before your 13th birthday? More than 3? Yes. Would he kind of pressure you into doing it or make you feel bad, or what would he say?
Yeah, he would, if I didn't want to uphold the bed as I got older, he would kind of make me, the way he would word things was that, like, he was my big brother and he was always going to be there for me, so I just needed to do this for him, even if I don't want to.
Did he ever cry? And say what?
That I was breaking his heart and I wasn't going to do this for him.
Did he ever ask you to make any videos? And do you remember when that was?
After I moved down to Alabama and I graduated high school,
Okay. And what did he say to you?
he told me that there was this group of Japanese people that he would send videos of him ejaculating and jerking off to, and that they sent him money. So if I wanted to make some money, that I could do that too.
And did you?
Please.
And where did you send the videos?
On Snapchat.
Okay. Did he give you an address to send it to?
No.
Okay. To the defendant's Snapchat? Okay. And how old were you when you did that? Do you recall? Okay. Did you ever continue contact with him?
Periods of time, yes.
Okay. And would you reconnect with him, or he would reconnect with you, or something else?
He would just continuously reaching out to me, trying to get me to talk to him again.
And how'd that make you feel?
Kind of pressured into it.
Did you eventually stop communicating with them and stop making the videos?
Yes, ma'am, the videos, yes, but communicating with him, we still communicate every once in a while.
Okay. How do you feel about this now? How has this affected you?
And you said it makes me heartbroken as well. It sucks that it took me this long to realize that this was something that was wrong. That it's not just something that everybody does.
Well, thank you for sharing with us today. I don't have any other questions for you. The defense attorney may have questions. Are you doing okay, or do you need to take a break?
Before you begin cross-examination, young man, you said it happened about 15 times.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Cross-examination,
Yes, sir. Judge, can we approach real quick?
for what reason?
Because I have to ask you a question regarding the question that I want to ask. Christopher. So do you know what the age gap is between yourself and Zach? You think it's 6 or 7 years?
Yes.
So when you were 12 years old, you think he was 19?
Yes.
And you said that you've known him since how old were you?
8,
About 8?
7, yes.
Okay. And when you knew him when you were 8 years old, what was he doing at the church?
Worship leader.
So you're saying at 15 years old, he was a worship leader? Or 14 when you were 8?
I don't know.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime of untruthfulness?
No, sir.
Were you convicted of a burglary in Alabama?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that based on you being in somebody's house taking something?
I don't know.
But it's a felony.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to draw your attention to what you were previously testifying. So you said that you've engaged in some type of sexual relations with Zach approximately 15 times at his house. Never anywhere else but at his house, correct?
Yes, sir.
And for those 15 times that you were at his house, there was never anybody there but Zach?
No. His parents were usually there.
Okay, so while his parents were there, you would go back in his room?
It was in the basement, yes, sir.
In the basement. All right. Now, does the basement have a locked door?
I don't know.
Can you describe the basement?
Not the details, no, sir. I just know you went down the stairs and to the right.
All right. Does his bedroom have a lock or door lock on it? What size is his bed in there? Do you recall Michael Sizemore living in the same room with him?
Yes.
Do you know Michael Sizemore?
Yes.
And was he ever there? What else is in the basement? Is there a living room in the basement?
There was a living room and a TV.
Is there a bathroom in the basement?
I don't know.
All right. Now, when you would meet up with Zach, where were you at? Like, where would you meet at before you would go back to his house? Well, obviously, if you were meeting up with Zach, you were meeting him somewhere to end up back at his house. So where were you meeting at?
Either church or anything.
All right. So he was actually picking you up from your house, your residence. And how far did you live from Zach's house?
15 minutes.
How far did you live from the church?
I
How did you get to the church?
My mom and dad.
All right. And then drop you off at the church by yourself?
She would come to church with me.
All right. And then after church, you're 12, 13 years old. She would allow you to go with Zach
Yes.
from the church.
Yes.
So you would go on just Sundays that you would go to church, or was there other days that you would go?
Wednesdays as well.
All right. So what time on Wednesdays would you go?
I remember it was in the evening.
School night?
Yes.
And so on Wednesday nights, you would go to Zach's house also?
Sometimes, yes, sir.
And on the Wednesday nights that you would go to Zach's house, you were engaging in relations with him?
I can't remember that.
So the only times that you recall are on Sundays? Or do you recall Wednesdays also?
The days all kind of blended together. Really know the days.
When you were alleging that these things were occurring when you're 13 years old, had you reached puberty yourself? Did you know what an orgasm was?
Yes.
All right. So you knew what an orgasm was.
Yes.
And during this interaction that you were having with Zach, you knew to pull away from Zach?
Yes.
And you're saying that you were 12 or 13 years old at the time,
Yes.
but you don't recall what year.
You recall
What year was it?
2014.
2014. What do you recall about Zach when you said he did you ever pull his pants down, or did he always pull his own pants down?
It was
And when you engaged, it was always him pulling his pants down. Was he standing up, sitting down, and then he pulls his pants down? And then how would you approach him? Would you?
be lying on the bed with him.
Okay, so you were laying on the bed.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And while you're laying on the bed, you put your head into his crotch area,
Yes.
like from the bottom, from his feet.
I don't understand the question.
Well, did you engage from the bottom, from his feet, or like from the side? And you did that every time.
Yes.
Do you know if he is circumcised or not?
He is not. I mean, he is not that. He is circumcised.
What is it? He's circumcised or not?
He's circumcised.
And you said this started approximately in 2014, correct?
Yes.
Do you know about what month? And you said that it went till when? 2000 what? 16? You said approximately 2 years. So
Yeah. That's what they mean. 2016.
how old were you in 2016?
15.
Turning 16 at the end of the year?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever tell anybody that you had these experiences with Zach?
No.
Not one soul.
No.
Do you have a best friend?
I did.
Who's your best friend?
Time was that.
Okay, what about, who else did you have as best friends?
I had a couple of friends that I played sports with.
Did you ever talk to them? How did you get wind that something like this was going on here? Who called you, or who let you know?
Thank you.
Zach called you? And when would that have been?
Right before he went to Virginia.
Was he somebody that you've talked to in the last 5 years since you moved to Alabama?
Yes.
How many times have you talked to him?
Up to 20 times. Sometimes a couple times a week.
Up till when?
Everything that happened. The university.
So you talked to him all the way up until October?
Probably until September. Okay.
Did you talk to anybody else? Do you know any of the other people that are involved in this particular case? Do you know, I'll just give you their names. Do you know Devin?
I know them. I haven't talked to any up till today.
Any of them? Because they're all a lot younger than you?
I live in Alabama.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying you don't know them because they're younger than you?
I know them.
All right, so do you know Weston?
I do, yes.
How do you know Weston?
He's related to these twins I grew up with.
Okay. Who are the twins that you grew up with?
I have to state the names.
Well, I mean, if that's how you know them, just say their first names.
Okay, Dylan and Nathan.
Okay. What about Max? Max?
I know.
About Noah? When you did your interview with law enforcement, the trooper that's sitting here in the courtroom, did you tell him that you also engaged, or he also engaged in having fellatio? I'm going to use that word. You know what fellatio is, right?
I do not.
It's proper. It's a more proper word for, putting your mouth on his, or vice versa. So it's called fellatio. So did you let the officer know that that he had engaged in fellatio on you?
I don't remember.
How long ago did you do your interview with the officer?
October, November.
So just this past October is when you gave your interview.
Really can't remember 100%.
Well, wouldn't it have been pretty important to tell the officer at that time if Zach had been performing fellatio on you?
Yeah, but I was ashamed of my story.
What is your current, if I can get it, your Snapchat user ID?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't look at it every day.
What about your email?
My email, COO.
No, hold it.
No, if you could write it down.
You can write that down. I'm not going to have it broadcast everywhere afterwards.
Yeah. Going into Snapchat and your email, you said that is that how you normally would communicate through text messages through Snapchat?
What's that? Yes.
How about on regular telephone line?
Phone calls, yes.
Phone calls, but what about texting by phone also?
It's usually on Snapchat.
Okay. Have you ever sent any videos?
Yeah.
To him?
Yeah.
To him personally?
Yeah.
Okay. Has he ever sent any to you? Did you provide any copies of any videos that were either sent by you or sent by him?
Nope.
You have to confirm, Your Honor. Did you have a girlfriend named Maddie? Did you ever have a conversation with her about spreading lies about your relationship with Zach?
Um,
Will you be able to provide your phone number as well on that piece of paper that you're going to write your email down on? The last thing I want to touch upon is there was some kind of payment that you said that Zach gave you. Where did that come from? What was it for? Okay. And you said that you sent it to where? Where did you send it to?
It's not that.
His personal Snapchat?
Yes.
And what was that? Do you recall?
Zachary, right, with something along those
Do
lines.
you still have those images on your phone?
No.
And how long ago was that? Well, was it a year ago? 2 years? 3 years ago?
I was 18, I'm 23, so
So it was after you were an adult, you were sending videos. Okay. And you're saying that you sent videos and he was sending you money for videos that you were sending to him? And how did you get those payments?
you catch up.
All right. And were they labeled with anything? How many times did he pay you? How much money did you get? Does Cash App have records?
I think so, yeah.
Are you able to look at it? Do you have your app on you now, your phone?
Do.
Can you look at it and tell us?
I like to do that.
It's Coral out.
You have your phone.
It's in my pocket, yes, sir.
You can find it quickly. You can go ahead and do it. Sorry,
It's still open. I don't have the greatest service.
you don't have service.
No, it's
That's why. So you can't do it right here from here.
How long did you know Michael Sizemore?
the same
So you met him at the same time?
after.
All right. And Michael Sizemore, was there two beds in that basement?
Yeah.
All right. And Michael was never there when you said that you were there. And you said sometimes that his mom and dad would be there.
Yeah.
And did you talk to them when you would get to the house?
Yeah.
Did you get fed while you were there? And give me a time frame. Like how long would you stay there? How long would you be there? Hours?
Yeah.
Minutes?
Hours. Sometimes a day or two.
Spending the night?
Yes.
And where would you spend the night at?
It's actually.
Okay. And where would you sleep?
It's been
All right. And you were 13 at the time?
12 and 13.
And your mom was allowing you to spend the night at a grown man's house?
Yeah.
Or was he younger than that?
Definitely, man.
All right. But, and you're sure about the age difference?
100%.
Redirect.
couple follow-up questions, if you're okay. You said that Zach called you when the news broke of all of this last fall. What did he say to you?
He told me that Weston was about to say something about the Japanese videos and that he was going to go for a week.
And he was going to Virginia for a week? Okay. Did he tell you to say or not say anything?
He told me not to say anything if anybody asked.
About the videos or something else
Just everything.
that went on between the two of you? And did he tell you why he didn't want you to say anything?
He didn't tell me when.
Okay. And what was your response?
I said, okay.
And how were you feeling at that time?
I was scared. I didn't really know how everything was going to play out. And then I started to feel kind of ashamed that I wasn't saying anything.
Did Zach ever make you feel like you would be in trouble for the things he did to you when you were a child? And you said you were in 7th or 8th grade. This started in 2014? Okay. And so your birthday is December 20th, 2001. Is that correct? So in 2014, you would have turned 13.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so that year, is that when it started before you turned 13, the bets and the oral penetration? Okay. And it continued until 2016? You said 2015 or 2016. And in 2016, you would have turned 15 in December. Is that correct? Okay. So these penetrations occurred when you were 12. They occurred when you were 13, 14, 15, and they eventually stopped? I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
You may sit down. Thank you.
Right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? See, spell your first name only for the record.
Jacob, Jacob.
You may inquire.
Hi, Jacob. My name is Amy Reiser. I'm the Assistant Prosecuting Attorney handling the case. And we met last week. I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask you. And if there's anything that you don't understand, just stop and I'll restate the question, okay? And if you need to take a break, we can do that too. If you need to get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, anything like that, we can do that. There's a microphone in front of you. It doesn't record, so it doesn't amplify, but it does record what you're saying. And so sometimes I think we get nervous when we testify and we might shake our head yes or no. But if you can, try to give us a verbal response, okay? You're doing good so far. How are you doing today? Nervous? Okay, take a deep breath. Can you tell the judge how old you are?
24 years old.
And what year? 2000. Did you always have to celebrate Halloween with your birthday?
Yes.
Okay. You graduated high school?
Yes.
In what year?
2009.
Okay. And any siblings, brothers, sisters?
One sister.
So you're the oldest of how many siblings?
3.
3, okay. And where did you grow up? Like what city? Okay. And did you go to church growing up? And where'd you go to church? Baptist Church in Saline? Okay. And do you remember like what age you started going there?
5.
5 years old? Okay. And with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Okay. And your siblings when they were born? Okay. And as a part of going to the Oakwood Baptist Church, were you familiar with Zachary Radcliffe? And the person that you know is Zachary Radcliffe, do you see him in the courtroom today? And can you tell the judge what color he's wearing? Okay. The record could reflect he's identified the defendant.
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
And what was Zachary's role in the church?
He been involved in like the band worship.
Okay. And did you have contact with him outside of church? How did that start? Okay. And do you remember how like you exchanged Snapchat with him or how you got it? Can you tell me about that?
Usually when it's snap, like it recognizes people, but you know, initials what it so it was
Okay. And did you have a phone or an electronic device? Okay. And how old were you? And so did it recommend that you friend him, or is that how that works on Snapchat? Okay, so you became friends on Snapchat. And did you talk to him in church too? Okay, and how did you view Zach? Was he like a friend or?
and he was really popular in the church. Everybody knew him, like kind of looked up to him as like a cool person in the church.
You respected him?
Yes.
And so you're 14, you got an iPod, you're communicating with him on the iPod or? And were you in, what grade were you in? And was it like a normal conversation? Did it start out normal? Okay. And at some point, did it go kind of beyond normal conversation? And can you tell Judge Simpson what happened?
Yes. If had abs at the time, like
When you say abs, like you mean abdominal muscles? Okay.
it's that picture I was
And what did he say?
saying you just showing off your muscles or yeah.
Okay. And what's kind of the next thing that was sort of out of the ordinary conversation that happened?
I went into asking me if I knew what it was and referred to it as a bro job.
Bro, like BRO job. He asked if you knew what that was. And again, you're 14. Yes. And did you answer him? Okay, what'd you tell him?
Said that I a term that I assumed he was talking about a bro job.
Okay, BLOWJOB. Okay. And then what's the next thing that happened?
Started talking about possibly meeting up at some point. I was having trouble with my parents and I just wanted to go out and try to escape from that. And he was there for me at the time. He
Okay. And were you sharing with him the problems you were having with your parents? Okay. And so how was he kind of responding to that?
very empathetic towards me, kind of making it seem like that I could tell him anything. And that he was a safe space for me.
Okay. And so did he come and pick you up? And what time of the night was it?
Exact time, but 2, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Everyone in your house was asleep, I'm assuming? Okay. And so how did he notify you he was there? On your iPod?
Yes.
Okay. And then, was he in his car? He had a car? Do you remember what kind of car he had?
Kind that I know today.
Okay. And so what did you do?
Coming to my house, parked right in front of my house a little ways. And I got in the car. I started talking about things that were going on with my parents because I was constantly getting in trouble. I didn't know that we were gonna do anything physical, like a blow job. I thought it was just gonna be us. Escaping from what I hate.
Okay. And so what happened when you got in his car?
So we received, started talking, brought up the blow job, asked me if I had ever received one. And I told him no. He asked if I wanted to receive one.
And what did you respond?
I was hesitant at first. That moment, I kind of froze. I didn't know what to do, so I just ended up saying yes.
Okay. And you were 14? Okay. And so what did he do?
Right here on my left thigh. Pulling my shorts down. Kind of just didn't talk. And
On your face with his mouth? Okay. And what happened when he was done?
ejaculating in his mouth. Still frozen.
You were frozen in shock? Okay.
And I pulled my pants up and I had asked to go inside because there's nothing else to do.
You asked him if you could go inside? Yeah, okay. Felt like you had to ask for his permission. Okay. And what did he say?
It's fine with that. Go inside.
Were you scared?
But
Okay. Did you ever tell anyone that night what happened? Okay. How were you feeling after that happened?
so many emotions. I've heard of what a blowjob was, but I had never received one, so I honestly couldn't sleep that night.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was feeling. I was very nervous and anxious.
Okay. And did you see him after that?
Yes, the next morning at church.
Okay. And how was that?
Uncomfortable. Didn't approach me or anything, so. Maybe,
Did he tell you anything about your Snapchat conversation that night?
told me to delete everything.
The conversation that you had with him?
Yes.
And why? Did he say why?
Keep it dark, make it a secret.
Okay. And so, do you remember, was that like, that was during the summer? Was it that in the fall? Okay, of 2014. Okay. So you would have turned 14 that October. So you would have been 13. Okay. And so, did you continue after that to communicate with them in a normal fashion on Snapchat?
At first, no, but then I pushed it up. At church. Pretended that it didn't happen. Kind of just went on.
Okay. Did you not want to go to church anymore? And did anything like that ever happen with him again?
Yes.
And when was that? So the summer of 2015?
Correct.
Okay, so you would have been 14. Okay. What happened then?
I'm still having problems with my parents because I was always getting in trouble from the first time. It's just a normal thing that people do. And so he ended up coming over again at night to pick me up because I was on a drive or listen to music and maybe go get some food. It's a safe space.
Okay. So he picked you up again from your house and was it in the middle of the night or? Okay. And still driving the same sedan? And did you drive anywhere and get food or? Okay. Where did you go? Did you stay on your street in your neighborhood? Okay. And where is that? Okay. Is that part of the church?
That's where the church
is. Oh, got it. Okay. And so did you go into the building, stay in the parking lot or something else? And listen, what did you do?
First, I just talked about things that were going on with my parents. Again, he made it seem like I could talk about anything. And he proceeded to bring up this and ever given one. Oh.
Okay. Up to this point, Jake, had you done any sexual acts? Were you a virgin?
Yes.
So you told him no, that you had never given, is he calling it a blowjob or a bro or something else? Okay, so you told him no? And then what happened?
He was asking me if I give him.
And did you respond?
First, no. But honestly, I kind of felt the same way first time.
And so did he take his shorts down? Or shorts or pants or what was he wearing? Do you remember? Okay. And did he tell you what to do or did you just do it?
I had an idea what we were supposed to do, but
And then what?
I started giving him a job. And proceeded to do that.
Put your mouth onto his. Okay. And then what happened? Yeah, of course, of course. Do you need a minute? Sure. When you had your mouth on his penis, what, if anything, was he doing?
I started sucking and I tried to pull back, but he had pushed his hand on my neck, holding my head down.
And then what happened while he was holding your head down? And what happened after that?
Passenger door. Basically, I mean, I was more so dry heaving. It came up, but
Did he say anything to you?
he asked if I was okay, but the rest of the car ride home was silent.
Were you okay? How were you feeling at that moment?
And it was
Did you ask him to take you home? Okay. And what happened when you got home?
started thinking about the first time as well. I had to see him at church the next day.
You had to go to church the next day. Did he say anything to you? How did you feel when you saw him? Did he ever talk about it being your cute little secret again? And was that in person, on Snapchat, or something else?
It's on Snapchat.
What would he say?
I don't remember exactly, but I know it was just our little secret. I won't tell anybody if you don't know.
Did you continue to communicate with him on Snapchat?
I still kept it on Snapchat. I didn't really talk about that. I was still having trouble with my parents. It offered me dollars to send him a day pay, which I proceeded to do.
And when did you do that?
I don't remember exactly when, but it was shortly after that. So,
Shortly after the summer of 2015. So you would have been 14 years old or 15 years old? 15. And how did he send you the $20 for the picture of your penis? In person? Okay. And what did he say? Anything? And did you send the picture of your penis or a snap or something else? Okay. And did any thing, pardon me, excuse me, anything happen after that? Any other encounters in the car or anywhere else? Okay. And did he ever ask you for any other videos or pictures? And the location outside your residence when he parked his car the first time it happened, is that in Saline, in Washtenaw County? And how are you doing with all of this now? How are you feeling?
it's not easy because it happened so long ago. 24 now. It's not fun, but I'm here for the right reason. I want to put an end to this. It's not fair to me or anybody else. Not only do I want justice for myself, but I want justice for everybody else.
And when all of this came out, Jake, did the defendant reach out to you by message or by phone to say anything? And you eventually told your parents?
I did.
When did you tell them?
All this.
When everything came public? Okay. Well, thank you. I don't have any other questions for you. I thank you for coming forward, and the defense attorney is going to ask you some questions. Do you want to take a break, or are you okay to keep going? Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Jake, I want to start with the car. What kind of sedan did he drive? So you were 13, you said, right? And he would have been how old? Do you know? Do you know how much older he is than you? When did you first meet him? How old were you? All right. And when you were 4 or 5, do you remember him being a kid also? All right. Did you grow up in the church where he was at? All right. So were you consistently going on Sundays? All right. And were you part of like a youth group or whatever that was there? And was Zach part of that youth group?
No.
He was not in the youth group?
Oh, he was probably in the youth group, but not in the same age.
All right. But did you have a youth pastor there?
Yes.
All right. And as far as your time in the church, how long did you stay in the church? Till you were 18?
So I was 17. So.
All right. All right. Were you ever part of the band or anything like that in the church? Are you friends with anybody else that's in the band?
No.
Were you friends with Ian? Ian? Is Ian in the band?
At the time, I believe so.
You ever taken drama and acting classes?
What's that?
Have you ever taken drama and acting classes?
Yes.
And for how long?
All 4 years of high school.
All right. And are you still involved with that? No college or doing anything with that? When you said that Zach would pick you up or get you in the sedan, was this something that happened a lot, or was it just the one time each time that you just testified about?
Just once, those 2 times.
All right. So when you said he picked you up, where did he pick you up from?
My house.
And your parents were all right with you getting in a car with him?
No, they were sleeping, so I snuck out.
What time would it have been?
I don't know the exact time, but 2 or 3 a.m.
So 2 or 3 a.m. you were able to sneak out of your house and get in the car with him.
Yes.
And the second time that happened, same thing, you snuck out of the house. And no other time have you ever been with Zach in his car or anywhere else?
No.
Never went to the store with him?
No.
Never went to a mall? Never went to a restaurant? You ever been with him with another friend, hanging out? So the only 2 times that you've ever hung out with him are the 2 times that you're testified to that there was. Do you know what the word fellatio means? It's another word for. So fellatio is just a nicer way of saying it. So have you other than these 2 times that you engaged in fellatio against each other that you're alleging, have you ever had any time with him? No one-on-one time anywhere else? And you said that you first started engaging with him on Snapchat when you were 13? And would his name have been on your Snapchat from church, or how did his name get on your Snapchat? Well, I mean, if you pulled your Snapchat, I don't have a Snapchat account, but let's say I had a Snapchat account and you pulled up and you put my name in there, would I pull up, or would you have to know what my name is to do that?
His name was suggested as a friend.
Okay, so did you friend him when you saw his name pop up on your Snapchat?
He friended me first.
Okay, so he friended you first, and then you guys snapped back and forth with each other. And when you were snapping back and forth with each other, it was based on what? Hello, how are you? What's going on? What else?
That's about it. As I said before, he had asked me if I could send something for the house.
Okay, but does he know you from church to ask you for a picture of your abs? Does he know you from church well enough to ask you for a picture of your abs? I mean, you went from saying hello to, hey, can I get a picture of your abs?
There wasn't much else besides.
Do you have any of that saved? Anything on your Snapchat saved? Did the officer or trooper that was investigating this, did he ask for your phone or for any images or for anything off your phone that you may have had?
Asked, but I don't have any saved.
You've sent pictures, you said, right? None of those are saved either? You've never saved any of your pictures from the past?
No, he would ask me to delete them.
So the two different nights that, and I want to go back and just touch on this. So the second encounter where it was alleged by you that you performed fellatio on him. What was the time between the first encounter and the second encounter?
A year.
So a year had lapsed? And between those two time periods, there was no discussion whatsoever with Zach. Nothing on Snapchat, just randomly came out of the blue and said, hey, meet up with me in my car.
I mean, between those two times, there have been conversations of like checking in on me, asking how I'm doing.
Well, you said you were having problems with your parents at home, right? Were you still having, all through that year, were you still having problems? Okay, and were you staying at home? Were you going somewhere else? Did you stay at friends' houses or did you ask for other people for help?
No.
And was it a bad relationship with your parents? I mean, was it your parents that were belittling you or calling you a liar, things like that?
Pretty minimal, so I was always getting grounded or in trouble for literally anything.
You were getting in trouble for almost anything.
Yeah.
Were you sneaking out of the house?
Not doing chores or
Doing drugs?
no.
So you weren't doing any drugs as a teenager?
No.
No drinking?
No.
So you said you were wearing shorts the times that you had the encounters with Zach, right? So it would have been warm enough to wear shorts both times. So that's why you think it was a year apart, because it was about the same time of the year both times? And you were wearing shorts both times. What about him? Was he wearing shorts? Well, he had to pull his pants down at some point, right? Well, did he pull him down or did you pull him down if this happened?
First or second.
Second time.
Okay.
You're saying he pulled his pants down while you're on the roadway somewhere?
No. We were parked.
Okay, when you were parked, where were you parked at? Okay, and where is that, near a main road? Where is it at? What are the crossroads, do you know?
Objection, asked and answered.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Overruled. I'll let him answer. He knows.
Do you know what the crossroads are from where you were at? Crossroads? Do you know what the crossroads are where you were parked?
Hard to dig just for notice.
You just said it was Michigan and Moon.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
That's it.
All right, so you were sitting at Michigan and Moon in a parking lot. How big is the parking lot?
Pretty decently sized, not big, not too small.
All right, is there other cars in the parking lot this time of night?
No.
Is there lights on in the parking lot? Okay, and were you guys parked under lights?
There was a light. Parked.
All right, is this another church?
Private Christian school.
So it's actually a school.
Yes.
And do you know there's video cameras at that school? What about neighbors across the street or anybody like that that would be nearby? Or are there cars going by? Is it in a rural area or is it in an urban area? So it's not in a neighborhood.
No.
So what would be across the street? Were you parked facing away from the school or facing toward the school?
Facing towards the school.
Okay, so if you're facing towards the school, what would be directly to your rear? What would be directly to the rear of the vehicle? I understand the parking lot, but I mean, what would be like the next closest building behind you?
Soccer field.
Okay. All right, so you're in a big area of the school area where it's got a soccer field and a parking lot.
Yes.
And you guys were out there at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And then when you finish at 2 or 3 o'clock, whatever time it was, does Zach drive you right back to your house?
Yes.
And you go and sneak back in your house. So you went from there straight back home.
Yes.
And then the next time that you alleged it happened, you went straight from there, same place?
That was the last time.
Okay, what about the first time?
First time it was in front of my house.
Right in front of your house?
Yes.
Okay. So he basically came over to your house, sat in the roadway, and whatever happened in the car between you and him, and then you just got out and went back in the house. And that was also at 2 or 3 in the morning. You have an alarm on your house? Do you know if Zach is circumcised or not? He's not circumcised?
Circumcised would be cut, I think.
Has he cut or not?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, he is what? Okay. I mean, second confirm, huh? I'm just going to go through a list of people to see if you know them or not. Do you know who Maxwell is? How long have you known Maxwell?
Oh, 12 years old.
Since you were 12, so about 12 years. What about Holly?
Yes.
How long have you known her?
Like 10.
So about 14 years. How about Noah? Don't know him at all? Never met him? About Isaiah? Never met him? How about Brianna?
Church, yes.
How long have you known her?
2, maybe 2 years.
How about KJ?
Yes.
How long have you known him? Okay, how old is he? Approximately.
I don't know.
Is he an adult?
I don't think so.
Okay. What about KJ's dad?
Yes.
How long have you known him? Okay. Do you know why KJ's dad's no longer the youth leader at the church? No idea. Were you involved in any of the information that might have led to him being removed from the church?
No.
Did you recognize KJ as the youth leader of the church? Who was the youth leader then?
I don't.
Did you go to youth group there? But you don't know who the youth.
Oh, when I was there, yeah, Aaron Hosley.
Okay. How long was he there?
How many years would I say? 6 to 7 years.
Okay. Going back to the pic that you said that you sent that you got $20 for, did you take that on your phone or through Snapchat?
Gave it to me in cash.
No, the pic. Did you take the pic on your phone or did you take it through Snapchat?
Through Snapchat.
Okay. Now the $20, let's talk about that. The $20 bill, when did you get that? Like how soon after your episode did you get that?
Church the next day.
So
Or
these,
not the next day, but just just at church in general.
So the next day at church in cash, like he just walked up to you and handed you a $20 bill?
It wasn't the day after the second incident. It was after I had turned 15.
Okay, with the picture? So you don't remember where that would have been?
It was at Washington Christian. Yeah.
The same place? What does that have to do with the church? Anything at all? Or are they separate? Are they separate from the church? I don't know. I'm asking the question with, is it related to the church? The Washington Christian Academy or whatever you're calling it?
Well, that's where Oakwood was holding their services.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, you said it already. Like,
What? No, Oakwood Church, and I did not ever, I never asked him that question, so I didn't
well,
know.
you didn't ask him, but he said what I said.
So you said that you got the $20 bill there at church on a Sunday.
Yes.
So both of these events, since you said you went to church the next day, both happened on a Saturday allegedly, right?
Yes.
Do you know what your Snap username is? If you would be able to write it down for me? Your email and phone number during that time period? Have you know it?
I changed it since.
Do you recall what it was back then? Would you be able to, Your Honor, would you be able to get him to write that down for us?
You don't know. You don't know what it was back then?
Yeah, he does.
I do.
Do you? Okay. Yeah, we can write it down. We'll get it. Just so we're clear, not your new ones, young man. Not just so that we're clear, not your new ones, but the ones from that period. Yes.
I'm going to ask you one more question, Jake. Do you know who Melissa was? Was the youth pastor's wife?
Yes.
Do you recall making up a story with Ian and Brianna to talk about seductive pictures that the wife was doing to get her husband fired?
No.
Did you ever call Zach and tell him that you were part of that?
No.
Nothing from
Any redirect?
No.
Okay. You're all set, young man. One thing that we're checking, the defendant is not present. I don't know if he needs to be brought out if we're just arranging time.
I don't believe so, but if you can leave him in the holding cell so we can speak to him after this moment.
Okay, yes.
We are good, Your Honor, until people sign for 1 p.m. tomorrow.
All right. And that's what time I'm going to set it. And then we will adjourn to tomorrow, the 25th at 1 o'clock. Thank you, folks.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is a compliment. It's an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Green? We're going to start bringing people in prison. He's going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it? Okay.
No patience for that. Because at the end of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.